Hey everyone, Darren Eastman here. Welcome to the GitLab Runner 14.4 Kickoff video. I'm happy to present Gina Doyle, who has graciously joined the GitLab team as a designer for both the testing group and the runner. You've probably seen Gina on other Kickoff videos as well. Hi, Gina. So today we will cover what's happening in the runner ecosystem for 14.4. I'll just hand over to Gina briefly to talk about some of the great things that Gina and team was working on as relates to run enterprise management, UI, and user experience. So Gina, over to you.
Thanks. All right, so I will start by just sharing my screen to look at some of the issues that we'll be taking on for 14.4. And just to give some background here as well, we do have a few epics that these are associated with. So we're going to specifically focus on the admin view for 14.4 and improving the usability there. And the three issues for this are the runner table design is outdated and doesn't allow for the addition of more data. So the main, I guess, point of this issue is to be able to redesign how the information in the table is laid out so that we can kind of make like a foundation for additional data to be added in the future, and to also make it more consistent with the table views and list views that we have around GitLab today. The next one is improve the location of where the runner registration information lives. And this one is mainly around the card that appears today above the runner table in the admin view. And we have some runner registration information that lives there today that we think that we could move so that it uses the space in that page better than it does today. And then there's additional information there that could also be moved around so that we get more space for that table rather than using the card. And then finally, the third issue is improving the usability of runner configuration details. So this is when you're actually looking into a specific runner, and we kind of just throw all the information at you today. It's a little bit inconsistent with the other ways that we're doing this across GitLab. So we wanted to make that more consistent and focus on the action that the user has to do. And then we have a bunch of additional issues if you want to take a look in the enterprise management epic, which we have sub epics in. And they're kind of grouped by theme. So if we're focusing on usability improvements this time, but then we can use what we get from that to flow into the group view for future iterations as well. I will hand it back to you, Darren.
Hey, super. Hey, thanks a bunch, Gina. That's awesome, especially since I just do ad-libbing. And so, yeah, just to recap, so Gina and the rest of the great UX team, they'll be and front-end development team will be working on getting the foundation ready for us in 14.4. So you actually won't be seeing any new features show up in 14.4 and likely not even 14.5 as well. But this will set the foundation for our improvements in the admin views, the group views, and improvements in capabilities in the UI and the UX experience around managing fleets of runners, around finding runners. So I know it seems a bit slow, and so bear with us, but we have to set the foundation. And once we got the foundation going, we'll be able to build the house, I promise you, much more quickly. We will start throwing the walls up very, very quickly going forward. So that's it for Runner Enterprise Management UI and UX at big category. And then really quickly, I'll share my screen out if the sharing works, and just talk a bit briefly about what's happening in Runner Core in 14.4. For those folks that have been looking at the previous videos, a number of these issues that I'm highlighting here in Runner Core for 14.4, we actually talked about in 14.3 and in at least one case in 14.2. A lot of these issues are related to a very key strategic area for us, which is our Kubernetes executor. These issues are very complex. We made a lot of progress on them. And so they didn't ship in 14.3. We hope to get them over the finish line here in 14.4. So that's a quick recap. Nothing specifically new, but I'll call out again some of the issues. The Kubernetes executor ignoring Docker entry point, that's pretty close to getting done. We're also working on these two issues right here, runner pods hanging around, and then the specific issue that fixes that, the last piece of it, which is having a schedule cleaner to ensure that all the related Kubernetes pod resources are cleaned up. So we shipped something in 14.1 along these lines. This is the second piece of this. And so in 14.3, we'll have a much better experience in terms of ensuring Kubernetes pod resources gets cleaned up. An additional piece of work that's coming in more than likely in 14.4 related to Kubernetes is regarding the Kubernetes executor, where we're adding additional grace period options as well. And so this is coming in from a community contribution, and more than likely that will also make it into 14.4. So 14.4 for Runner Core, very heavy on Kubernetes. And the last new thing that's interesting in 14.4 is that we're pretty close to implementing this graceful shutdown feature. It's something that we shipped a while back for, I believe it was a shell executor, where we're pretty close to implementing graceful shutdown for the Docker executor. And so you'll see that in 14.4. A stretch goal for us in 14.4 will be this last issue here, the ability to pass PowerShell scripts through a mounted file in a Docker executor. That's likely going to be a stretch goal for us in 14.4. So 14.4, some issues we started working on in 14.2 and 14.3 have rolled over. We're pretty close to wrapping that up. But when 14.4 ships, you'll see a bunch of new capabilities around a very important strategic area for us, which is a Kubernetes executor. And again, the reason why that's super important is that allows you to scale up a runner containerized build fleet super easy on Kubernetes platforms. And so it's a very core piece of a runner strategy. For Runner Cloud, we don't have anything planned to ship in 14.4. We're currently in the midst of our beta for the macOS Build Cloud, and the additional engineering resources on the team are focused on work related to GitLab.com. So nothing to ship in Runner Cloud category in 14.4. So that's it. Again, as always, if you have any questions about the GitLab Runner roadmap, the category direction page, issues that you're interested in, feel free always to ping me, the Eastman and GitLab. Happy to engage with you and discuss our priorities. Hey, with that said, it was great doing our first kickoff together, Gina, and I'm looking forward to doing the next one next time. Cheers, everyone.